going to mirror my iPad. And so when I do that, what you should see, and I'm going to turn it to the side and make sure that you guys can see that. Okay. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to click on the Google Keep app. So when I do that, it says Google Keep would like to access your contacts. I'm going to say don't allow for now. So when you use it for the first time on your mobile device, those things might start popping up. Like it's going to ask you, if you want to use location services or, all those other kinds of things. Okay. We're just going to leave it at that for now. So let's talk about what we're seeing down here, right? This is something that when we originally were in Google Keep, we did not see these two items when we were on the laptop version. What we're going to do first is we're going to take a look at the audio recording. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to click on the little speaker. Thank you for watching my video. Okay, so what I just did was I just clicked on the microphone and I recorded myself speaking. So what happens is Google Keep will generate an audio file as well as text. Okay, so basically what it did was it interpreted what I was saying in my audio file and it put it into the body of the Google Keep note. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to give this a title now. We're just going to call it Sound Bite. That. And then I'm going to click out of it and there we go. So now you can see another advantage of having Google Keep used in a mobile environment. So for example, if I have a student that maybe needs some specific direction, I can share a Google Keep note with them, but I can record audio instructions for that student. So maybe they not only need to see it in text, but they may also need to hear your voice explaining maybe the steps of a project or maybe some direction for a specific lesson. So I think it's another tool that you can use in your classroom. What we're going to do now is we're actually going to use the camera. Okay, so I'm going to click on the camera icon, and what this allows me to do is I can either take a photo in real time or I can choose an image that is already saved on my mobile device. Well, what we're going to do is we're actually going to take a photo in real time. Okay, so what I'm going to do now is I'm going to select take a photo, and it's going to allow access to my camera. I'm actually going to turn this so that way you guys can see this. Okay, I'm going to make sure I try to get this as clear as possible. Click. Okay, the camera. And so you'll notice now that it took a picture of a business card. What I'm going to do is I'm going to select use photo. And what will happen now is Google Keep will start the rendering process. So basically what that means is it's going to make sure that it's going to upload the photo to my Google Keep note. So if it looks a little blurry right now on your screen, that just means that it's going through the rendering process. And once you see a clear image, that's how you know that it has completed that process. So what I'm going to do first is I'm going to give it a title. And so this is actually a business card from a representative at Kahoot. So I'm going to just title this Kahoot and say business card. Okay, so now when I click out of it, you'll notice now that the picture just became a little bit more clear. So again, that's how you know when it's completely rendered, is if you can see it, how it would normally look. Okay, there's no blurriness to it. What I'm going to do now is probably one of the coolest things that I discovered about Google Keep. All right, so check this out. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to click back on the note. You'll notice right now there's not really a whole lot happening. Okay, it has the picture, it has the title, and then it has some text in the body of the Keep note. What I'm going to do is I'm actually going to tap on the picture itself. All right, one more time. I'm going to back up. I'm going to tap on the image. What you'll notice is now I have a couple of things going on. Okay, the first thing is now I have a pin in the upper right hand corner where I can actually annotate on this photo. Okay, so I'm going to click that pin, and at the very bottom you'll notice that I have the same options as if I were to actually make a Google Keep drawing. And so you have your selection tool, you have your eraser, and you have your 3 different types of pens or markers. So I'm just going to use that first one. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to switch this up now. We're going to go purple, and we're going to go one size up from that setting. I'll tell you what, no, I'm going to go back to that one. Okay. Then what I'm going to do is I'm just going to draw on top of this picture. So I'm just going to type the word cool like that. Okay. And then if I don't want it to be annotated, okay, and you know what I'm going to do is I'm going to actually draw another word, just so that way you guys can see this, okay. Sorry, draw the word yay, okay, because that cool is kind of a little difficult to see. Let's say I don't want any annotation, so I'm going to go back to that eraser, and then I'm just going to swipe over it with my finger, and then it disappears. Okay, so again, you can annotate on a photo that you've taken on a mobile device. Okay, but here is where the real magic happens. Okay, you'll notice that I have those three dots in the upper right hand corner right here. Okay, I'm going to click on that. One of the options when you take a photo, okay, but again, this is another disclaimer, is that the photo has to have text in it. Okay, so what I can do is I can click on grab text, and now what happens is it took whatever text I had in that picture and it put it into the body of the Google Keep note. Okay, I'm gonna do that one more time just so that way you guys can see this in action. So I'm gonna I'm gonna tap on the picture, I'm gonna go to the three dots, I'm gonna click grab image text. Okay, now what you'll notice though is it also depends on the quality of the picture. Okay, you'll notice that I have like some kind of weird lighting on my original picture, and you'll notice where it has Daniela's email, it didn't recognize the T in, it didn't recognize, it gave me too many letters. So instead of it being Kahoot, it was the email tag, I don't know if you guys can see that or not, is KAALH. When you use grab image text, you want to make sure that you have the best possible lighting and the best possible quality of image that you can get. Okay, again, it's it's a really cool tool to use, but it's also on us too to make sure that we're when we do use grab image text that we're using the best image possible. All right, so let's talk about some things that are kind of happening from, again, a mobile perspective. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to go back to, I'll tell you what, let's go back to my soundbite. Okay, so when you're using an iPad, an iPhone, Android device, okay, you're going to see your menu options in different places now. So right down here in the lower left side, you see this plus. So I'm going to click on that plus. Here's where, again, you can take a photo, you can choose an image, you can convert this into a drawing, or you can use checkboxes. So I want you to realize that that is one place where you can find more options for your Google Keep note. On the right hand side, you still have your three dots over here. So I'm going to click on that. And here's where the other side of the Google Keep options, note options are. Okay, so I want to make sure that you understand that it does look a little bit different when you're on a mobile device. So you can delete a note, you can make a copy, you can send it to somebody, you can add collaborators, and then you can even add labels and change the color. So I'm going to change the color of this one. Okay, so I'm going to go green this time, and I'm going to add a label to it. So remember how I added those labels on my laptop from earlier, so they did sync. So I'm just going to choose Round Rock ISD, Summer PD. I'm going to click the back arrow, and then there it labeled it. Okay, so that's how you kind of navigate through that. Okay, the next thing we're going to talk about is adding collaborators. Okay, I think this is a really cool piece that you can, again, use with Google Keep. So I'm going to click on my original math drawing. Okay, I'm going to go back to the three dots again. Okay, this time I'm going to click on collaborators. Okay, so you'll notice that I'm working out of a different Gmail account. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to add my Round Rock ISD account. And I'm just going to type it in here. You guys see what I'm doing. And once I finish putting in that email address, what I can do is I can just click that check in the upper right hand corner. And if you did it correctly, if the recipient of the note has a profile picture, you'll see that profile picture at the bottom of the note. Okay, so just a little information for you guys. Okay, so you'll notice I've shared two notes actually. I shared this note with my Round Rock ISD account, and I shared this note a little bit earlier in my Round Rock ISD account as well. So I was just testing it to make sure that it worked. The last thing we're going to talk about on the mobile side is we're going to talk about reminders. So what I'm going to do, and you'll notice right here, kind of gave it away, but I actually tested this earlier just to make sure that it was going to work. But I'm going to set a reminder for my Kahoot business card. So I'm going to tap on the business card, and again in that upper right hand corner you see the same icons that you saw on the laptop version. So what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to click on the reminder icon. What Google Keep will allow you to do is set reminders two different ways. It will allow you to pick an individual date and time, or what it'll do is if you arrive at a certain place, it will alert you as well. Okay, so you have that option. You can pick a place, you can type in the geographic location of that place. When you arrive there, if you have your notifications set correctly, then you should get a reminder from Google Keep. So I'm just going to keep it as August 5th, the time. Okay, so you remember how I set the morning, afternoon, and evening time earlier in the first video? Well, those settings still stayed the same here. So it does sync across my account. But what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to go and I'm going to select custom. So what custom will allow me to do now is, remember, I'm on an iOS device, so I'm going to set the time. We'll go for, let's do 11:28 a.m. So when I do that, you'll notice that the date, Saturday, August 5th, time 11:28 a.m., which should be 2 minutes from now. I'm just going to click on that check, and then I'm going to click out of the note. And then you'll see where it says today at 11:28 a.m. I should have a reminder. Okay, so we're going to kind of hang out here for a second. The other things I want to kind of show you from a mobile perspective is the left-hand side of the word notes. Okay, we also have another icon that we're going to select. Okay, so I'm going to click on that, and here's where you have the same options that you saw earlier that I was using in the previous video on my laptop. So if you're wondering where those settings went, that's where they are. Okay, the other thing we're going to talk about is the view of your Google Keep interface. So over here on the right hand side next to the search button, I can click that icon and it'll take me into a different view of my Google Keep list. Okay, or notes. I don't necessarily prefer that way. I kind of like to see my notes as if they were on like a cork board. And so, there we go. So you'll see that my reminder popped up. You not only see it down here on my mobile device, but because I'm recording this video on my laptop, you also see it as a laptop notification. So I think that's really cool too. You guys got to see both, okay? All right, so I'm going to turn off my iPad so that way we come back to here, and you will notice also that it gives me a Google Keep embedded reminder. So again, 3 ways it reminded me, oh man, I gotta look at that business card. So kind of cool.